What's going on? Darkside B here, celebrating 10,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to my channel. It is so awesome. I watched on Social Blade, my number roll from 9,999 over to 10,000, and it was such an awesome moment. I was in shock literally for like 5 minutes, saying like, wow, 10,000. It was just so cool, and it blew my mind for a little while where I've come with this channel. So that being said, I'm going to grab a hold of my Macho Man Randy Savage koozie. I'm going to grab an ice cold beer, slam it in there. We're going to crack this open, and we're going to celebrate. Cheers. So with that being said, I don't have a fancy giveaway or anything, but what I can do is I have these cards I had made up to hand out to promote my channel. And what I will do is the first, what's a good number? 25 people that follow me on Instagram and send me a direct message, I'll take one of my cards and I will sign it and I will mail it to you. And out of those 25 people, I will select at random 3 of them, and I will add some extra goodies in the package that I will send you. So go follow me on Instagram, send me your address, and you will get a Darkside B card signed by me. So, and also the point of this video is I'm going to talk about some of my music history, instruments I've played when I started. But to start, I'm going to take it way, way back to the first time I remember even listening to music. And that was when I was 2 years old. I remember every night I had to listen to I Love a Rainy Night by Eddie Rabbitt. I would play that on a record player. I had my own headphones and everything. And my mother has pictures of me with a pacifier in my mouth, my headphones on, listening to music. Yeah, it's funny. It's pretty cool though that I remember way back then what I was listening to. Then we moved forward a year. At 3 years old, my mom thought it was a great idea to take my brother and I to get our pictures together, and I refused to have my picture taken unless she bought me Michael Jackson's Thriller. So I threw a big fit about that. So she did buy me that. I have that on cassette still. It's put away upstairs. It's really cool. It always reminds me when I see it, like how much of a brat I was to even get my picture taken with my brother, who you've seen on my channel, my brother David, in some of my challenge videos. So from that point on, it's a little fuzzy with my listening to music. Probably whatever my parents probably had on the radio, and my uncles and my grandfather were big into country, so some of that was in there. And then, you know, when I started going to school, it was whatever I guess was popular at the time. But I do remember when I got into metal music. So I'm just going to use metal as a blanket for all hardcore metal and all that stuff, just to curb the argument. So I remember in graded school, I had a neighbor across the street. His name was Matt. And I remember walking home from school or just playing outside, and I would always hear this music coming from his house very loud. And I'm always curious what it was. And then when I kind of met him and we would walk home from school together and whatnot, I went over there and he was blasting Metallica, Master of Puppets, and the Injustice for All album. And he played guitar. So to me, this guy was like super, super cool. And that's when I started listening to heavy music. So we'd come home from school, my brother and I, we'd go right across the street. He'd be cranking Metallica, playing his guitar, and it was awesome. So from there, that's when it just took off. And then through some other friends, I got into, you know, I was introduced to Megadeth, Slayer. And then I had another friend that was big into like Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, stuff like that were all introduced, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. But I started playing instruments when I went to school, it was 5th grade. You could play an instrument. So what I picked was a saxophone at the time. And then once we got our instruments and went to our first music class, I realized pretty much everybody else was playing the saxophone also. I think we had like 2 flute players, a clarinet, a trumpet, and then it was pretty much all saxophones. They didn't introduce percussion or anything to us at that time back then. So I played the saxophone for 2 years, and then in 7th grade I switched to the trombone. I found it appealing and I wanted to learn it, so I picked that up, and I played trombone from 7th grade all the way through senior year of high school. And in high school, I did, I guess we'll call it regular band, did jazz band. Senior year is when I first picked up the guitar. I took a class in school with my buddy Tyler, and my first guitar was a Washburn acoustic. So at that time, our school had switched to block scheduling. So we had like 4 blocks the first half of the year, and then 4 blocks the second half of the year. At least I think that's how it went. So our guitar class was at the end of the day. So we had took it the first half of our senior year. And then we liked it so much, we signed up for it again on the second half of our senior year. And my senior year was the first year I ever got a 4.0 grade average. I had band, jazz band, guitar, and an English class. That's what I had the last half of my senior year. I don't care what classes I had, I left that school with a 4.0. So after high school, that summer following, I got a call from one of my buddies and said, "Hey, would you like to play bass in a band?" And I was like, "Sure, I would love to." So I went up, and a friend of mine had a bass there. It was this old beat up thing. I think it was like a Blaze or something. I remember the name on the headstock. And so I picked that up and showed up, jammed with the guys for a couple times, and decided I was going to stay in the band. And then I invested in my own bass gear, and I was in that band with my best friends for just over 6 years. And we played a lot of shows, we put out a few CDs, and it was a really, really good time that I'll never forget. So after that, I was in another band for about 2 years, and once that band dissolved, I took my bass and I just put it away for what seemed like a really long time. I would take it out once in a while, kind of mess with it, but never was in a band again or whatnot. Then the day kind of came where I wanted to start a YouTube channel and involve music in that. So now with the channel going, I have my bass in my hand quite often, or a guitar, and I'm working on getting all those skills back to be a better musician. And as I've said, I want to bring you guys a solo project of music that I've kind of been writing and so forth. So that's the direction things are going to head down the road. And of course, the music comedy videos and the random Radness stuff will still continue. So I'm going to wrap that video up here. And once again, thank you guys very, very much for 10,000 subscribers. It is so awesome. And don't forget about the cards. Go follow me on Instagram. Hit me up in the DMs with your address. I will mail you a signed card. And 3 of the 25 people will get some extra goodies in the package that I'm going to mail out. So, that being said, I just dropped those everywhere. Fail. I am Darkside B. Have a beard. I do what I want.